Hey, hello, folks. Welcome to Pro Trader Strategies. My name is Eric Wilkinson, and this is Spotting the Trade. I'm going to get you folks what you need to know before you roll, and that's going to be talking about economic data, how that impacts the overall markets with a little market analysis, maybe sprinkle in a little geopolitical fodder to round that all off, and then talk about some option strategies we could implement into a portfolio based on the assumptions we come up with in our market analysis. All right, so without further ado, today is the day we've been talking about all week. It looks like something in the background is punching me with the shadow of my fan. Anyway, a little distracting. So without that, we talked about across the pond. We're getting some economic data. Actually, tomorrow is the big ISM. Today is a big day, though, as well, because we have Biden speaking probably imminently here in Madrid, Spain. Probably going to be talking a lot about energy, the economy, how it's going to be going forward. Another thing we've got going on, OPEC meetings yesterday, today, probably hear a little bit more coming out today as to what they plan on doing with production. A lot of rumors are that they are going to increase production. We're going to have to wait and see what that looks like, but that could help ease some of these tensions we've been seeing here in crude oil. As we can see, crude oil has come off the last couple of days. A lot of that has to do with these OPEC meetings, some rumors coming out of there as well. And then here in the United States, we got some other economic data. We got some retail sales across the pond, most of them looking pretty decent. Germany being one of those that missed, coming in at 0.6, expected to be 1.1. But here in the United States, we got some economic data. We got the core PCE, which is personal consumption expenditures, that came in at 0.3%. That's not very good. That was expected to be 0.4. We did get unemployment claims coming in at 231,000, expected to be 228. We can call that pretty much in line, maybe a little bit higher. It's not terrible. Personal income expected to be up 0.5%. That comes in right in line at 0.5%. So good to see that personal income is actually ratcheting up here. You know, when we're talking about inflation, when we have to buy things and we're set on a certain budget. Well, it's good to see that that budget's increased a little bit through personal income increasing. Personal spending, though, this is one of those things that we've been talking about, coming in at 0.2%, expected to be 0.4%. Remember last month came in quite high at 0.9%. They left that unchanged, but we're coming off of that spending high, increasing income, but lower spending. That's not a great recipe for a good economy. That's a saving type of economy. That's where we're talking about. You're not spending that extra dollar or $10 at dinner for dessert, those extra ancillary things that we might buy going out to dinner that we're kind of holding back on right now, going to Starbucks and maybe buying something extra there. That's not really what folks are doing right now. So that's going to slow down the velocity of money in the economy. Another thing we've got is PMI coming out of Chicago and natural gas storage. Just something to note about gasoline. We did see that as a big drawdown yesterday of, I think it was right around 2.8 million barrels, expected to be a drawdown of less than 1 million. So big miss on that number, which would indicate strength, right? That is showing demand. If we see that inventories are well down over expected, we know we have an increased supply. So that means that's more of a demand aspect happening here. And we saw crude oil come off a little bit. That's another reason why I think that we might hear something coming out of the OPEC meetings, that they're going to increase supply. It feels like that's kind of the hubbub going on. And that would make sense, right? If we saw this big drawdown yesterday in crude oil inventories, well, that means there's less supply out there, high demand. We should have seen a bit more of a bullish reaction. Yesterday, we got a big sell-off there. That's kind of what led me to believe that we're probably going to hear some increased supply coming out of OPEC. I'm not so sure that those folks don't trade the markets as well as, preemptively trading those markets before they release that information. All right. So let's move on with the rest of the markets. We can see crude oil is coming off. Another thing that we've been talking about recently is this 50-day simple moving average. Good to see that that's below there. I want to see it retrace to the 200-day and even quite possibly break that, but I don't know if we're going to get that quite soon. I don't think Biden's going to make enough of a impact on crude oil inventories by increasing supply here in the United States to really cause this market to come off right now. I would hope he would, just to try and stir this up, help this economy right now. Gold futures fighting a little bit of a bottom here, but we're just not seeing folks put money to work right now. It's really cash hoarding kind of situation where I think that folks are looking to allocate money on a very quick type of move here. So I think they're waiting for a capitulation moment, and then they're going to put money to work rather than put it into gold and have to have that sector rotation, which is sometimes a little bit difficult for, a behemoth type of investment company to try and rotate out of one sector and into another sector. So I feel like that's what we're getting right now, is that folks are sitting on cash and waiting to allocate it at a like a capitulation moment, if you will. Bitcoin, guys, if you're in Bitcoin, I would be out of this right now. It's just, I'm not feeling very strong. I'm not hearing a whole lot of news about it. Folks are kind of not really talking about cryptocurrencies, at least in my circles, as much as they used to, which leads me to believe that there is going to be a lack of demand for this product, and we could start to see that roll over, despite the fact that one would expect it to hold or retain value in times like this. The VIX, we got a bit of a spike. It is coming off a little bit from the overnight sessions. As you can see, it looks like we're getting a little bit of a recovery here off of some of the lows we were seeing overnight, which were being printed just probably about an hour ago. We'll probably see that show up in the E-mini S&Ps, but overnight, Dow Jones Industrial Average is very weak, not making this pattern. Yesterday, I was going to talk about this. These patterns that we saw yesterday on these setups, that's the same one that I want. Getting ready for my webinar, if you saw my PowerPoints there. Anyway, so yesterday, making a bit of a bottoming pattern here in day of indecision, but it's kind of happening relatively quickly there. We would have needed to see a really sharp move to the upside. And I just don't see that happening from the economy, that there's enough information coming quickly enough to make us want to change our minds here. And like I said yesterday, I was talking about waiting for this capitulation moment, not here actually, but I was talking to some friends. Feels like we're trying to find a bottom here. People are taking stabs at this, maybe buying a little bit. That's where we're getting a little bit of the support, but we just haven't had that capitulation moment. It doesn't feel like we've seen any real panic go on yet. I don't know that we're necessarily going to see that this time, but it would be good for the markets, to be honest, if you got those weak hands shaken out really quickly. Got a little bit of a blast off to the downside. Here we go in the Dow Jones Industrial Average again. Same type of indecision pattern yesterday. Sometimes those look like a bottoming, but I'm fading that right now. As obviously, we could see this market really snap back. Let's say settle above 30,000. 30,800, I guess, is probably a good line. I would say 30,900 would make this look really good, because it would finish up and around this area, creating that doji that we always look for at the bottom of moves. A day of indecision, bottoming doji, that would lead me to believe that tomorrow we would get a little bit of a confirmation to the upside. Hopefully type a situation where we could say we were breaking this lower lows, lower highs type of pattern here in the equities. Don't know why I went straight to the E-mini S&Ps here, but getting a little bit of a bounce here, probably off of that economic data that I just kind of read off to you. It's going to be interesting to see how the market reacts to Biden's comments today. Would have to say that the market is not going to jump higher, because I don't think that he's going to come out and say we're going to increase oil production. All right. So with that said, I think that you're going to see a struggle for a rally, at least today. Target is something that I'm looking for as a opportunity to trade around here today in the video that I'm going to be doing on the, on the iron butterfly. So we're going to be talking about all the rules that I need to have in order to implement something like this type of strategy. It's a defined risk strategy that we can take advantage of high implied volatility. If you've been watching the videos with the cracking the code, you can tell that this has high implied volatility. I found an opportunity that we could take advantage of for the next couple of weeks here in target as it starts to consolidate right around this area. So check it out. Go to Pro Trader Strategies. Make sure you sign up, smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe with the bell, because that tells you when I'm coming in unannounced. If you don't have the bell lit up, it'll tell you that if you subscribe, it'll tell you that I've got a video coming, but it's not going to tell you when it launches. All right. So make sure you got that going on today, this afternoon, after the close. Check it out. If you can't take that, take it easy.